Salut, bonjour. Une fois encore, soyez le bienvenu dans cette chaîne, ça c'est Fleur Hub. Once again, you're welcome to Fleur Hub channel and c'est notre pratique de faire quelques explications sur quelques aspects très importants de la langue française. Et aujourd'hui, nous allons continuer avec notre cours sur les voyelles françaises. Is a practice to explain some tricky aspect of the French language from the English perspective to the Anglophone learners. And today we are going to continue what we call the French language phonemes, and we're dealing with vowels. Not dernier class, last class we looked at basically in the last video the French language phonemes, les voyelles orales simples. On a touché au moins cet approfondiment, on a parlé aussi euh, un de son qu'on n'a pas étudié d'une façon approfondie parce que cela se mêle avec lutte because that also is linked with the other one. So we just touched the basic seven that were simple orals. But in this video, I'm going to be looking at the next four oral vowels, but these ones we call them voyelle oral composite. We're going to be touching on this four, and we're going to be doing that with the head of the other ones we have looked at initially. So we're going to make a reference to the previous one we have looked at so far. And let's dive into it. The sounds are very tricky. This is what we want to look at. We are going to touch them as much as we can. And I want to encourage you to pay rapt attention because there's quite a lot. So the very first phoneme we're looking at for the compound oral vowel is called U. Is the phoneme U. We're going to look at that phoneme in conjunction with the one we have looked at before, which is the phoneme E. So for E, we did talk about it as voyelle antérieur. And then we saw it also as voyelle écartée. We see it as voyelle orale, of course, and of course voyelle fermée, très fermée. So we're going to be looking at that compound one, U, and we're going to be looking at how it works with the one we have studied. So we're going from the known to the unknown. And so if you have not watched our previous video, I would encourage you to go back to the video. It's titled Les voyelles orales françaises simples. You need that knowledge to understand what we're going to be dealing with here right now. So we're going to look at our textbook I've been using for this lecture. Of course, it's Grammar Progressive, a very wonderful textbook. I encourage you to get a copy for yourself because you have quite a lot to enjoy from that textbook. It's so enriching and is the reason I'm using it. So we are going to be looking at it now from chapter 15, where we have those two phonemes I just mentioned. Let's listen to the recording now and see, and then we'll come back as usual to give the commentary, which is very important. Let's listen.
Vie, vue. Exercice 1.
We just saw V, view. Now look at the chapter once again. Let's take it again. Listen to the recording.
Leçon 15. Vie, vue.
So we've seen V, view. So the two phonemes we are looking at here are the phoneme E, which you are used to already, and U. This is the phoneme U. We are dealing with that phoneme. So please, let's look at the four propositions, the four sentences below. We have avant d'entrer dans ma cellule. Ici, the U, cellule. Il a fallu me mettre nu. Et quelle voix sinistre! Ulule. Guillaume, qu'es-tu devenu? So you see the U and then the E in the sentences. So we've looked at this E already. The explanation remains the same. You can go back and look at that in the previous video, but I've just touched it now. It's an anterior sound. It's a very close vowel. It is écarté, it is spread, and then of course, it is an oral vowel. But this is our emphasis now. You. Long, très en avant, meaning it's still an anterior sound. But what is the difference? Quelle est la différence entre ce son et l'autre? We have très arrondi. Très fermé. So it's at the same level. The mouth, the opening of the mouth, we call it le degré d'ouverture de la bouche. It's the same with E. But for this one, it is the lips are round. So it's arrondi, fermé. So the four criteria for you will be son antérieur, arrondi, très fermé, and of course, oral. Now, how do we realize that phoneme? What are the graphics that give us that? We have dealt with E, so I'm not looking at that. We'll come to the U right now. We have the letter U alone. We have the letter U independently, U with circumflex and U with tremor. Example, perdu. The next one is due. The one is sur. So at other times, it is the EU of the verb avoir in the past tense. Example, j'ai eu, nous eûmes. That's passé simple of the verb avoir. So at times it's you followed by e trema, aigu, like in accent aigu. So these are the different ways of realizing the phoneme. To further buttress the point, we're going to listen to the recording once again, and then we're going to be taking the second recording, two recordings before we continue. Let's listen to the recording now as we go ahead.
115. Vie, vue.
Okay, I've seen it. Let's look at it now. Number one.
Un. Un. Voici une bille.
Voici une bille.
Deux.
OK.
Voici une fille.
Voici une fille. OK.
Trois. Voici une pile.
Voici une pile. Next one.
Quatre. Voici une ligne.
Voici une ligne. Now, dans ces exemples, you see the U there give us the phoneme U. Whereas the I, which I already looked at already initially in the last video, give us the phoneme E. Let's go to the next recording and let's also see how it is used as well.
Exercice 2.
Okay?
1. Tu iras à Paris?
Tu iras à Paris,
2. Tu y resteras longtemps?
tu y resteras longtemps,
3. Tu y feras des études?
tu y feras des études,
4. Tu y travailleras?
tu y travailleras. Now, you will discover that for these four sentences, the U gives us the U phoneme. So you have letter U independently, not followed by any vowel in French or by the consonant N or M in French. It gives you the phoneme U. That is what you should know about this particular phoneme as a beginner. So if I want to describe the phoneme U, what are the criteria? Number one is called phoneme antérieur at the front of the tongue. Number two is phonème arrondi, the lips around, U. Number three, phonème très fermé, my lips are closed, U, so close, sealed. Then it's also an oral vowel. Having looked at that, we are just going to take one more recording for practice. I want you to listen to this recording. There are at least 5 exercises in this recording, and let's see how far you can pick out the sounds. Let's go.
Exercice 5. 1. C'était utile. Ce n'est plus utile. 2. C'était humide. Ce n'est plus humide. 3. C'était unique. Ce n'est plus unique.
Number 4 now.
C'était universel. Ce n'est plus universel.
Now, ce que vous allez trouver dans ces enregistrements qu'on vient d'écouter, c'est le fait que le son you est toujours là. But the other thing we found that's what we call l'enchaînement, linkages. So you can do that. There is a video for that already in the channel. Go to the channel, you will find that linkages. We have enchaînement consonantique and enchaînement vocalique, and then enchaînement, and then we have liaison. Those three phonetic realities are captured in that singular video. So, but you have seen you alone giving us the phoneme, whether in unique, whether in humide, whether in universel, whether it is in utile, the U give us the phoneme U. That is one of the first thing we must emphasize so far. Now, having looked at this, I didn't share my screen earlier, but we have seen quite a lot. I want to share the screen now and take one of those recordings again. And as we look at it together, you will do well, definitely. Like this particular last one, let's take this recording again. I want you to look at the sentences so that you can understand better. Now let's go with this now.
Exercice 5. 1,
C'était utile, ce n'est plus utile.
Ce n'est plus utile. Number one there.
2,
Number
C'était
two.
humide, ce n'est plus humide.
So you see the phoneme is in the humid, plus.
3,
C'était unique, ce n'est plus unique.
So you find it in unique, plus, and unique again. That's in phoneme.
4,
C'était universel, ce n'est plus universel.
So it's in universel, it's in plus. So letter U independently give us those phonemes. Those are some stuff. Those are what you need to master. That's what you need to know for that is concerned. Let's go back now to where we began from. I want you to also see the example once again um, in recording here that we have. I want you to look at the examples one more time, just to strengthen your listening and so that you can see the examples in front of you. So let's have the screen shared again. We looked at them before, but I want you to repeat them. So try repeat after the recording as I'm going to be playing it, so that we can be sure as you've gained the thorough mastery of what we are dealing with so far. So I'll take the first recording one more time. Let's go now.
115. Vie, vue.
Exercice 1. 1.
Voici une bille.
Voici une bille.
2.
Voici une fille.
So you have it in yun before the fee. That's where the sound is.
Voici une pile.
Yun again. Later you give us that sound.
4.
Voici une ligne.
So you have it in yun as well. So let's take the next recording, which we have listened to initially. Let's take it one more time now.
Exercice 2. 1,
Tu iras à Paris?
Tu iras à Paris. Tu. You have the phoneme there.
2,
Tu y resteras longtemps?
Tu y resteras longtemps. Tu again. Give us the phoneme.
Tu y feras des études?
Tu feras des études. So I have it in tu and étude.
4,
Tu y travailleras?
Tu y travailleras. We have it in tu. So these are the phonemes. I mean, the grapheme, the letters that give it to us. And like I said initially, but as you look at what you have here, look at the phoneme here, it is very round and closed. So that's why it's called lèvres arrondies, bouche fermée, en avant. So it's an anterior sound, it is arrondi sound, it is a fermé, and of course an oral sound. And together it is letter U alone, independently, that gives us the sound. And also with the verb avoir in passé composé and passé simple, we have it in j'ai eu, we have notion, we have perdu, we have su, we have due, and we have aigu, like an accent aigu. These are the way the sound is realized. I want to believe you have seen the way it is used, and I trust you are going to be okay. You are going to do just fine. So having seen all these, the next and the most important thing to talk about is the next phoneme. We want to look at the next phoneme now. And this phoneme cut across another phoneme we have seen before. So I'm not going to spend time here. We have seen the phoneme before and the phoneme U. I want you to see both of them together as we compare and actually contrast. So that is the phoneme U and U together. We have seen E and U, that they are both very close vowel. You know that E is écarté, the lips are spread, whereas for U, it's arrondi. We want to see U and U. What's the relationship between two of them and where do they differ? So let's have it now. I'm going to play the recording with you and then run through it. I already explained what it means before. So I'll run through it very briefly. But before then, let me share the screen once again so you can have a proper view of what you are looking at. It's very important. We'll do that now. So now that you have the screen, we have been looking at the phoneme U and U. These are the two phonemes. We have RU, we have RU. We have les murs sont mûrs le long des murs et des bouches noisieux. Now, for this phoneme, we have already seen their classification, the examples, we have seen those before. Let's go straight now to listen to the recording and see how U and U differs in conversation as we listen to the recording in front of us. So we're going to take the recording now and I want you to pay keen attention to both of them. It's very important to both sounds, and let's see how it works out.
Sont 16.
Okay?
Roux, rue. Exercice 1. 1,
J'ouvre. Vous ouvrez. Tu ouvres.
2,
J'oublie.
Okay?
Vous oubliez.
Okay?
Tu oublies.
From this recording, what you have seen so far, we have j'ouvre, vous ouvrez, tu ouvres. So you see the you in tu, whereas you have the vous, the ou in ouvre, in vous, in ouvrez, in oublie. We have oublier, oublier as well. So these are areas where you have their dichotomy. Whereas one of them is OU that gives it to you. The other one is just only letter U that gives you that particular phoneme. Let's take the next recording and see how much we can go with that.
exercice 2. 1,
C'est une bouche.
2,
C'est une mouche.
3,
C'est une douche.
4,
C'est une louche.
Là, dans ces quatre propositions qu'on vient d'écouter, vous allez découvrir qu'il existe les deux sons. The two phonemes exist here. For yun, we have you. For bush, we have u. For mush, we have u. For douche, we have u. For louche, we have u. So, O, you give us the u, whereas just you independently, not NASA, give us what we call the u. So, it's important to note that. Having said that, we are going to be moving on now to introduce another sound, but we're going to introduce that sound with the phoneme U. You have mastered U as one of the compound vowels in French. Let's look at the other one compound vowel now. So we are going to look at it together. I will begin this time by playing the recording. And I want you to listen attentively so that you can try and grasp it. Because this is a very tricky sound. Very, very tricky. but you can actually get it. Let's take it together now.
Leçon 17. Du, de. Tête. Du, de.
So we are looking at you, du, de, du, do, you, du, do. This is it. Let's share the screen now. So you see the two words we pronounce together, particular phoneme. We're looking at you and du, de. Now look at the screen now. Du, do. So for this phoneme, you give us the you. You give us the du, de. Look at the sentence here. Il pleut sur. Il pleut sur. You. Il pleut sur. Il pleut sur. Il pleut sur. Now let's explain. We have already explained what you is. Let's explain the de. Number one is long en avant. Long en avant, meaning is an anterior sound. We have lèvres arrondies, meaning the sound is what? Arrondi, the lip is round. We have is round. And then we have fermé. Now, this occupies the same position at the front, like the sound A, which we have looked at, like the sound A we looked at. So we have A, we have de, that's what you have for that particular phoneme. The next thing is, how do we realize that phoneme? For you, we have seen this letter U that gives us that. For this we have EU, we have OE together with U at the final syllable. Example, veut, deuxième. We have EU, OEU plus Z or plus T. This is that phoneme. You will understand why that have to be added because when we come to the next phoneme we are dealing with. But we have meuse, we have foot. They also have EU with circumflex as in je. These are the graphy that gives you the phoneme. So for this particular it is anterior sound, it is arrondi, it is fermé, it is oral. Do is a compound. Now we call it compound because it takes combination of letters basically to give you these particular phonemes. So that is the reason we call it as a compound phoneme, and it's like a combination of two different sounds coming to give you one. De, Having seen that, the next thing now we're going to play two other recordings to see the distinction between you and I want to see that distinction right away. So let's have the recording together now, which we have already, and let's take it now.
Leçon 17. Du, de. Exercice 1. 1.
Tu peux?
Tu peux?
Tu peux plus?
Tu peux plus?
2.
Tu veux? Tu veux plus?
So you see you have the you in the tu and the in the the.
3.
Il pleut?
Pleut.
Il
Il
pleut
pleut. Il ne pleut plus. So this is the sound. It's very clear now. We have we have you. Different sounds. Please note them. Only letter U gives you that phoneme, whereas EU together, for you to have that U, no vowel must come before or after it. But for this one, you must have E and U together to have this phoneme. This Let's have the next recording now and let's see how far you can go with this.
Exercice 2. 1,
2 fromages, du fromage.
Deux fromages, du fromage. Deux, du,
2
you.
cafés,
Deux cafés,
du café.
du café. You see it? Deux,
Trois.
you. All right?
2 gâteaux, du gâteau.
Du gâteau. Okay?
4,
2 desserts, du dessert.
So we've seen these two phonemes, U and E. We've seen EU giving us that phoneme followed by X. We've seen U without any vowel giving us that particular phoneme. Please, you will do more practice because it's very, very important to do that. So I'm going to play one more recording to see how far to ensure that we have enough mastery. I'll take the recording now so that we can look at it together. And this is going to be 141. So as you can see, let me scroll to 141. So we're taking this recording, this number 6 recording. Let's see how far we can go with it.
exercice 6. 1,
Et jeudi, tu peux venir?
Jeudi, peux, je
Et
peux.
jeudi, tu peux demander?
OK?
3,
Et jeudi, tu peux me rappeler?
OK? Je peux, jeudi, peux.
4,
Et jeudi, tu peux te présenter?
That's number 4. Number 5 now.
5,
Et jeudi, tu peux le rencontrer?
OK, let's go to the last one.
Et jeudi, tu peux repartir?
So thus far, you've seen that the two sounds are very different. What we actually did here is that we tested what we call okadok, the fall of the okadok, but that's not my emphasis. But you're going to find out that EU giving us that de, peu, jeudi. You get it now? Whereas you alone giving us you, tu, tu. So that is how it works. So that sound we're going to compare it now with another phoneme, which is very, very important. We have compared that phoneme with U. Let us now compare that phoneme with the phoneme O. O, de, O, po. So I want to share the screen once again. While looking at this in the next chapter, which is in chapter 18 of the textbook, we have shovel, we have shovel. Now let me just briefly give a little bit of commentary before we take the recordings for the mastery of the pronunciation. So you have these two words here. The first one is shovel. Oh, if you look at this one, our emphasis is on the E-A-U-X. We also have the E-U-X in the other one. Oh, chevaux. Cheveux. These are the difference. Now, we have explained how they are realized. We have seen the differences in their pronunciation thus far. The next most important thing to look at right now is the examples, to master the examples and see how it works and see how it works. So right about now, we are going to just go straight to the recording. And since we already know the pronunciation, this is O, this is E, de, O, E, O, E. So let's have the recording. We'll take 2 more as we've always done. And then I will not take time to read a paragraph that is on after the recording before we go to the next phoneme. So let's go straight to the recording. So we're taking 149 and 150 and let's see how far we can run with this. Once again, we are dealing with the compound phonemes. If you are able to master all these phonemes, you are going to be very, very much fine. Let's have the recording now for those two.
Leçon 18. Chevaux, cheveux. Exercice 1. 1.
Ça vaut 2 €.
Ça vaut
Il me faut
2.
2 euros.
OK?
2.
Ça vaut 22 €.
Il me faut 22 euros.
Now, from this recording we just looked at now, we're looking at O and E. Now, the first one, ça vaut, A-U-X, ça vaut. Ça vaut 2 E, ça vaut 2 €. E, we have il me faut 2 €. We have ça vaut 22 €. We have il me faut 22 €. So you see O for the first one, AU, then EU giving us was E. O, E, O, E. That is that. Let's take the next recording, which is 150, and let's see how far we go with that.
Exercice 2. 1.
Eux aussi, ils viennent.
2.
Eux aussi, ils partent.
3.
Eux aussi, ils dorment.
4.
Eux aussi, ils sortent.
Okay, that's another tricky one. Now we have the in EUX, in US. Then we have OAU, OAU. That is how you realize the two phonemes. That's the distinction. One is O, one is OC, OC. That is on that. Let's look some reading now. This is lecture. I want to read this entire stuff here so that you can see how they are pronounced. So I will underline and then I will read. Now we have for this, okay, let's go down. Maître de philosophie. Un peu. Maître, ces paroles-là, premièrement, quand vous avez dit, belle marquise, vos beaux yeux me font mourir d'amour. Ou bien, d'amour, mourir me font. Belle marquise, vos beaux yeux, ou bien, vos beaux yeux d'amour me font. Belle marquise, mourir. Ou bien, mourir, vos beaux yeux, belle marquise d'amour me font. Ou bien, mon fond vos beaux yeux, mourir, belle marquise d'amour. So you see the O and E, they are two different phonemes all together. We have seen now U and E. We have seen O and E. Now I want to see U and E and see the distinction. U, the rather U and E. Let's go to the next chapter and then we'll see that together now. That's chapter 19, as you can see. We have douzième. This is ou. Douzième. This is it here. Ou. Then we have deuxième. E. Now, OU gives you ou. EU gives you what? E. So we have ce, le chou-fleur, allait heureux de pourrir sans savoir qu'il pourrit, ni qu'il est un chou-fleur. We have already explained how to realize this particular phoneme ou. We have seen how to realize this as well. Let's go straight now to the recordings and distinguish between the two of them. So let's take 161 and 162 to see how far we can master the practice, the pronunciation. So we're having 161. Let's begin with that, and then we'll take 162, as you find in your documents right now.
Leçon 19. 12e, deuxième. Exercice 1. 1.
nous tous, nous deux,
Nous tous ou
Deux.
deux.
vous tous, vous deux,
Vous tous, vous deux.
Trois.
nous toutes, nous deux,
Nous toutes, nous deux. OK?
Quatre.
vous toutes, vous deux.
Vous toutes, vous deux. Let's take the next recording and see more examples.
Exercice 2. 1,
C'est peu ou c'est beaucoup?
2,
C'est bleu ou c'est vert?
C'est bleu ou c'est vert?
3,
C'est vieux ou c'est récent?
C'est vieux ou c'est récent?
4,
C'est mieux ou c'est moins bien?
C'est mieux ou c'est moins bien?
5,
C'est creux ou c'est plat?
C'est creux ou c'est plat? So you find that the same distinction applies to both of them as you look through it all. Now we are coming nearer toward the end of these oral vowels, but we still have two phonemes we have not touched. We still have two phonemes we have not done justice to. So I've looked at 10 vowels already from the last video and this particular video we're dealing with right now. However, it is important to emphasize the fact that for these next two sounds, we are still going to look at them from their point of similarity and divergence with other phonemes. So we have mastered this de. We have looked at that There is a sound that is very close to it. We call the sound So we're going to look at the two sounds now as we introduce the 11th phoneme we are dealing with, as far as the last video and this one is concerned, which are the tricky sounds in French. So let's, first of all, share the screen. Then we'll take the recording and then we'll now begin to give explanation because we're bringing a new phoneme. We have to explain properly. So let's have it now. I will take 175, the recording there, and then we can now go into our commentary, which is very, very vital. 175, our recording. Let's have that.
Leçon 20. E, œuf. Exercice 1. 1.
We have
deux nageuses. Plusieurs nageurs.
Now we have we have we have we have Now this is very close to the phoneme which we did in the simple vowels. Now let's look at how it is realized before we come to more recordings and see more examples on that. As you can see, I'm going to read now. We have we have we have we have we have we have So let's we have un homme heureux est celui dont le bonheur est écrit là-haut. Et par conséquent, celui dont le malheur est écrit là-haut est un homme malheureux. 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 You've seen that now. How is it realized? We have seen For this one, it's also at the front of the tongue. The lips are also round. But whereas is fermé, this one is presque ouvert. Do you get it now? You see the lips is a bit wider here from what you can see so far. So that is the difference between those two. One is ouvert, one is closed. Now, let's look at it at the level of graphic. We have seen The same EU for is what we have for But remember, for you to have that EU or OE plus U together plus a consonant that is pronounced, that is not T or Z, you have that phoneme. So we have we have earth. That is for that. We have peculiar cases are cœur or gueule, club, t-shirt, roller. These are peculiar cases. Basically, if you look at the example here, you see, this one is plural. Let's say it's singular. When you have the singular form of words that have OE like this together, they come out this whereas their plural becomes So that is what you should know about these two phonemes. So let's go back to the recordings now. We'll take 175 and 176 to master the pronunciation. Let's have the 175 over again.
E, F. Exercice 1. 1,
Deux nageuses. Plusieurs nageurs.
2,
Deux skieuses. Plusieurs skieurs.
3,
Deux coureuses. Plusieurs coureurs.
4,
Deux golfeuses. Plusieurs golfeurs.
All right. You can see how tricky it is. For the first part, it's For the other one is We have deux nageuses, plusieurs nageurs, Now, that's what you find all through. We have deux skieuses, plusieurs skieurs. So when it becomes, if it's not Z or T after EU, and the consonant is pronounced, what you have there is not So that is for that. Let's take the next recording.
exercice 2. 1,
C'est un gros bœuf. Ce sont de gros bœufs.
2,
Tu veux un œuf? Tu veux des œufs?
3,
Elle a l'œil noir. Elle a les yeux noirs.
'Okay, so what you have so far for this second one is more of singular and plural. I mentioned it earlier that when you have construction of OE written together at a singular level, you have it as your at the plural level is That's what you just saw play out right now. So these are very important phonemes which you must master in the language, and they are very, very tricky. They are very, very tricky. So I want to share the screen again and play that all over. So these are very, very tricky phonemes. Let's have the phoneme again. We have seen earth, E, F, E, F, E, F, E, F. We have seen that this plural is E, F. And then we came to the recording, which we just listened to, and that is for the first one. We saw for the first one, we have deux nageuses, Z, comme E, plusieurs nageurs, E. Then we saw the gros bœuf. We have the gros bœuf. So that is the difference we have seen so far. So as we look at the next phoneme, we want to introduce the last oral vowels in French. And there are basically three more things we're going to touch on that are going to be done with all the vowel sounds. In our next video, we're going to look at the consonants, which are also very, very important. But let's introduce the last vowels. Last vowel, the oral vowel, which we have not looked at so far. We have touched it initially in E category. We need to touch it right now. And we're going to compare the two different sounds or three different sounds, as the case may be, and then we'll wrap up this particular video. So that's in this particular chapter where we are. So I'll share the screen now, and then we have a proper view of the phoneme and see how it is written. you must know how to use them for phonetic, for transcription. You are used to A. This is E, 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 E. Now, le, E, E. Now, let's play the recording together. 899 and 90 is what we're going to be looking at. 899 and 90. So we're going to have this 189 and 190. 190, 189 and 190. Let's play. If you have it as a student, one of my students, you can go and check it. So let's have 189 play together now.
Leçon 21. Les, le. Exercice 1. 1.
So we saw le, les, le, et, e. Now, let me explain that last phoneme before we listen to the recordings properly. Now, I have long central. It's neither posterior nor anterior. That's the first thing to note. It's neither arrondi or écarté, posterior rather. So it is round, and then it's also an open vowel. That's another thing to note as far as this sound is concerned. So we can say moyen or central, we can say antérieur, we cannot say arrondi, we cannot say ouverte, basically. And then look at how it's realized. Only the letter E gives you that phoneme. E in monosyllabic because we have le. E as. The last syllable, reprendre. Re. R-E. Appartement. This E here. Ro. This E here. No accent aigu on it. No accent on it. Then you have E followed by double S. You have dessus. Then in monsieur, O-N here, giving us that O, monsieur is an exceptional case. Then AIS in verb faire at the impact we have faiseur, faisant. That's why you have that particular phoneme realized in French. So you just have to get used to them as you study. But let's have more of the recording now so that we can follow up properly. Now let's go.
Leçon 21. Les, le. Exercice 1. 1.
Les chefs. Le chef.
2.
Les patrons. Le patron.
3.
Les présidents. Le président.
4.
Les directeurs. Le directeur.
Now, what we've done so far here from this recording, what you'll find that is back to your knowledge of French articles, singular and plural. So, le, L, E, letter E, they give us that E, as I've explained initially, and you have that, and then the LE has given us what the A. So, only letter E gives you that phoneme. E, O, le, le. Let's have the next recording.
Exercice 2. 1.
Il les sucre. Il le sucre.
2.
Il les sale. Il le sale.
Mhm.
3.
Il les poivre. Il le poivre.
Mhm.
4.
Les gouttes.
Il les goûte.
Il le goûte.
Il le goûte.
5.
Il les mange.
Il le mange.
Il le mange.
And so you get it right now that it's only letter E, like I said initially, that gives you the phoneme. So having established this, we can basically say we have touched all the phonemes in French language, but there are just a bit one or two more things that I want to bring your attention to. I will just play the recordings and then show it to you basically. Now let's have another recording, but this time we are actually comparing the same A and E. Let's look at it from another perspective. We'll look at it from the level of articles. Let's come to the level of verb and personal pronoun. Let's see the comparison between those two thus far. So the same A and E. Let's have our recording now. That is 203 and 204, and then we'll give explanations so far. So let's go with that, 203 and 204.
Leçon 22. J'ai, je.
Okay.
Exercice 1. 1.
J'ai ri. Je ris.
Okay. J'ai ri,
2.
j'aurais.
Je dis.
J'ai dit, je dis.
3.
J'ai rougi.
Mhm.
Je rougis.
Okay.
4.
J'ai
Mhm.
fini.
Mhm.
Je finis.
So basically, what you have here is in verb, the distinction between these two. So we see j'ai, the verb avoir. We have je. So we said AI give you what? A. E again. So whether it's an article or it's a personal pronoun, it's the same thing. It doesn't really change that much. It doesn't change. So that what you are seeing in this example we just read, where you have for this one, je, je. That is what you have there basically. Finally, now, as before we stop the video, I've touched every other phoneme. I've compared them with one another, seen the distinction. But there is a particular comparison I want to bring again with that same O, le. I want to look at it with the phoneme ah, aha. So let's look at both of them together before we wrap up this video. For that to happen, let's look at the chapter 23 of this wonderful textbook we are using. Let's share the screen again. I want you to have a proper view of it so that you can grasp it as we've always done. Okay. So we have for this, we have we have le, la, le. These are two articles. We're going back to articles. I want to say la and lo. So when you're pronouncing the French articles, the definite articles, you don't mix it up. So to do all these, we're going to go back now to listen to these two recordings we have in front of us. They are quite interesting. They are quite important. And let's go to 217 and 218 and let's see how far we can do with that. They're very vital videos, which I think we'll find so interesting. So let's have it now.
Leçon 23. La, le.
Okay, la, lo.
Exercice 1.
Okay, we go to the exercise
Un.
now.
La pianiste.
La,
Le pianiste.
lo, pianiste.
2.
La flûtiste.
La flûtiste.
Le flûtiste.
Le flûtiste. La bassiste. Le
Trois.
bassiste.
La bassiste.
Hein?
Le bassiste.
La choriste. Le choriste.
4.
La choriste. Le choriste.
From the last example you've just seen, you'll find out that the nouns are the same thing. The only distinction is the article that precedes them. That's because in French language, at times we have a noun, the same thing for male and female, both gender, but the article is the level of distinction. So what we have just seen now is how the articles are used, a and e, le, la, to distinguish between genders in French. So we're going to stop this video here. This will be the end of our discussion on oral vowels in French. The next video we're going to bring across our way is going to be the nasal sounds in French. And there are four of them. We're going to look at the and un. Those four, we're going to look at them and how they are realized in French. We're going to see the combination of some letters and how they become nasals. So you have been so wonderful staying so long to learn and study this video. We really appreciate it from Flow Up team. Do well to subscribe to the channel, share with your friends who wants to understand how to pronounce and study the French language very well. On est là pour vous. If you want to engage us, drop a comment in the comment section. We're going to reply you, of course. On est là pour vous servir et nous sommes très contents de vous avoir dans cette chaîne. Et dans la vidéo prochaine, on va se voir. Pour le moment, bonne journée, bonsoir, bonne nuit, bonne soirée, bon tous. Au revoir pour le moment.